Hey there, you found Cameras and Car Seats, the podcast for photographers who are tired of being told to hustle harder while trying to remember if you grabbed diapers at your last Target run. I'm Jamie, your destination adventure elopement photographer who somehow manages to adventure with couples while raising tiny humans.
And I'm Alex, holding down the Lincoln logs in the Midwest traditional wedding scene, proving you can crush those weekend weddings and still make it to family dinner. If you're editing in the pickup line, scheduling client calls during nap time, or just trying to figure out how to run a profitable photography business without sacrificing your family life, you're in the right place. We're dropping real, actionable advice that actually works for mom photographers.
No bro marketing, no toxic hustle culture, just two photographer moms keeping it real about making this whole business thing work while raising our families. So grab your watered down iced coffee.
Ignore that pile of laundry for another hour or day.
And let's dive into today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So today we kind of wanted to do like a little bit more mindset-y and pep talk. Like what is holding you back in your business? And hint, it is not your children. It could be your husband. No. but we just wanted to kind of dive in and just answer some questions that I feel like as women business owners, we're always struggling with in a way. And I feel like let's just validate it. Let's bring it to the table. Let's curb it. Let's figure this shit out.
Let's talk about it. Talk about the things that we're all struggling with that nobody wants to talk about. And we don't know if other people are feeling them, but we all are.
Yeah, literally. Exactly. We all are. So it's like, okay, if we were to look at our businesses right now and figure out like, okay, why am I not booking? Why am I not where this person's at? Why?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So first thing on the table that I think is one of the biggest issues is the comparison trap, comparison game. Let's chat about comparison.
Oh, okay. I feel like one for me, comparison trap is so hard as an elopement photographer because with elopements, you see these people photographing these couples in amazing attire in front of a waterfall, on a mountain, on a helicopter, in a glacier. And it's like, oh, am I not good enough? Like, do people not like me?
Why not me?
Like, why did they book that person over me? And then you actually dive deep into it and it's like, oh, that really is the perfect photographer for them that we wouldn't have vibed.
Or you realize that it's not personal. Like they most likely don't even know you exist. Like not in a bad way, but like there are so many people out there and there's so many couples out there that they probably don't know you.
And it's so hard to get on Instagram sometimes and just be like, oh, that's really pretty. Wow.
Yes, literally. So one of my favorite features on the Instagram app.
On the Instagram.
You know what that is?
The Instagram. No.
It's the mute button.
I do love the mute button.
Okay. I think it is totally okay to not follow everybody. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is a Midwest thing. Because like we're all like friends of your Aunt Cheryl's cousin's wife. You know what I mean?
Shire. Okay. It's the Lord of the Rings.
Shire.
It's the Shire. Like we're all hobbits. We all know everything. We're all related. No. That could get weird. That could get weird. Just kidding. Oh my gosh. Literally some unhinged shit Jamie said yesterday. I don't know.
I want to rent a horse, please.
Why does that always happen? Like I do not think before I talk sometimes. You're welcome, people.
Okay. But I think it's totally okay not to follow everybody. Mm-hmm. You do not have to follow anybody. And honestly, like if somebody wasn't following me, that's okay. You know how many times I've had to unfollow people or mute people. There are some situations where I understand that it would cause more drama than not to like not follow somebody, you know? So that's where the mute button is good. Mm-hmm. Like you can hide their stories, you can hide their feed. So it's like, it doesn't cause drama, but you don't see their stuff. So you're not playing the comparison game.
Yeah. Cause sometimes it's just, you need to do it for a break. You just need a break.
It's almost never personal.
It's not about almost never the personal. Other person. It's usually always about you.
It's always like, oh, you know what? I love their work. Like, think about it. The times that you get upset with somebody is usually because you want to be doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They make you feel intimidated.
Literally thinking about that the other day because I'm like, okay, like, ew, how many times did I just say the word like? But I was thinking about this because I feel like I did it 7-8 years ago when I had just moved back to Iowa, and I'm like, why'd they do that? What are they doing? And then I'm like, this is my own internal struggle. This is my own issue. This has nothing to do with them. You need to sit with your feelings, why you're feeling that way.
Yes.
And then move on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a self-reflection moment of thinking, okay, whoa. Like when you take a step back, you're like, why do I feel this way about that person? Or why do I feel so like gross? And you realize that it's because you want to be doing those things, and seeing other people do the things that you wish you were doing sometimes sucks.
It's like that Berenstain Bears book with the green-eyed monster. Do you remember that? Oh my gosh.
It's like, I want to be doing that. And then it's okay to unfollow people. It's okay to like put that aside so you can focus, because if you took that time and energy that you spent looking at other people's stuff, wishing that you were doing what they're doing, if you took that time and energy and put it into your own business and like kept your eyes on what you want to do,
you would be so eye-open, surprised about what you find.
Yes.
Like, I really need to stop saying like, guys. Hold me accountable. But I recently
mute.
I'm just going to start muting my microphone every time I want to say that word. But I recently did a deep dive on my 2024. I went through all of my notifications, my numbers.
That would take a long time.
It's a lot of,
two of them. No, just kidding.
But like, I went through all of my analytics. There we go. Analytics. Wow. This is going to be, but I just went through everything from Google's, all my data. I went through all of my website visitors. I went through everything to try and figure out what went wrong. Like, where's the gap? Where was I not marketing? Was I not speaking the right way? Was I being too clever and not clear? Was I, what did I do wrong? Like, where in the funnel did they fall off? And I found out so much. I found out a ton of info, actually.
Yes. Yeah. When you take a step back and you look and you're like, oh crap. Like, or all the things that we think we're doing that we're not actually doing. Kind of going back to that, like, okay, we're going to like take in all this education and then we're not actually implementing it how we think we are. And sometimes, okay, this is also where like,
sometimes someone has to be mean to you and be like, you're not actually doing enough. Yeah. Or you're not doing enough of the right things.
Exactly. Or you need that other person to be like, well, you think you're doing that, but actually like maybe try it this way. Like Jamie and I do that with each other all the time because it's so much easier to see somebody else's stuff than your own. Mm-hmm. So when you're like, oh, I think this is how this is coming across.
Too close to your own genius.
Yes, because it's so much easier to look at somebody else's and help them. Not like point out, I'm like, oh, Jamie,
don't point out your own problems.
No, but like it's so much easier to look at somebody else's business objectively and say like, oh, well, have you tried this? Mm-hmm. But because it's our own business, we get emotional about it and we overthink it. And it's like all of this, when in reality, like most of the time it's not that deep.
But also I feel it has taken us both so long to, like, I know we're comfortable with each other now, but when you don't have someone that you know they have your best interest at heart when they rip your shit apart.
DM us.
Like,
if you don't have that person, we are now your people.
Because like, you know what I mean? Like, because you're like, you want this person to tear your stuff apart. You want them to tell you, does it not look like what's the problem? Because you're too close to it. And then you don't understand why people aren't booking you. But then you have someone come else in and be like, I don't know what that means.
Exactly. Yeah. You need those people in your business, and it makes a world's difference to be able to kind of take a step back and look at it objectively.
Just having someone that you can trust to rip something apart. Like, this is my masterpiece. Is it amazing? And they're like, almost. And like, at first you're still butthurt and you're just like, I thought it was so good. And then you're like, you step back and you realize everything they said and you're like, oh, yeah, I can see that.
Okay, another thing that I think holds people back is not trying hard enough. Can I know this is like, sounds rude. Like, I feel like we're just like ripping in right now.
Okay, but I was just talking about this the other day because sometimes you need that person to be rude, quote unquote, because you think you're doing these things and you're not.
You're not doing them. Or you're not, like, you don't care enough. Like, I've had a few people like chatting in DMs that are like, oh, that looks like a really good idea. I don't know how to do that.
And then they don't try.
But then they don't try to do it. Mm-hmm. When it's like things actually,
we're not being rude. We're trying to give you tough love.
Yes. Like, if you actually sat and took the time to learn something that might like take you a little bit, in the long run, all those little things add up so much. So even if you're just like, oh, well, I don't know how to do this part on my website, so I'm just not going to. Like that little thing could make or break like booking 10 clients.
Mm-hmm. It's almost comparable when you have someone reach out to you and they're like, I don't know how to download this. And then you ask them more questions and they're like, oh, I didn't even click on the link. Yeah. And you're like,
literally.
So everyone experiences this in some way or another. So we're going to be your little tough love guide today.
I love it. Yeah. So make sure like, don't be afraid to like step out of your box and try new things. I also think as a mom, it is also easy for us to be like, oh, well, I don't have time for that. My kids have this and this and this, and I don't have time for that.
I think there's a difference between being a mom and a business owner and making it work and using I'm a mom as an excuse.
I think it also comes down to priorities. Like if you actually, there's a difference. If you are running a photography business because you love it and you aren't looking to make 6 figures plus and make it your full-time thing or whatever, like that's totally okay. Like if you're just like wanting to book a few things because you love it and you like just like learning and listening to like us,
you like being part-time, like that's fine.
Okay.
We're never going to say you have to be full-time. You have to make this sort of income. If you want to stay part-time because it's just your creative outlet and you're having fun,
that's totally okay.
We're proud of you.
But if you are looking to like make it your full-time thing and you want to keep making goals and you want to keep pushing, like it all comes down to like, think about it. If you have
to take it seriously.
Yeah. Like when you watch people who are like nutrition coaches or like bodybuilders or like doctors, you know, these people that specialize in these things, it's because they take the time and they dedicate. If I want to, let's say I want to lose weight. Okay. I am going to then dedicate my time to working out, to meal prepping, to like doing all those things to make that happen because it's a priority to me. So if you're not doing that in your business, if you're not taking the time to learn, if you're not taking the time to grow, you're not taking the time to invest, it just like with your health, like it's the same thing. You can't like not work out and then expect to be buff.
You can't grow what you don't track.
Exactly.
That is one of my favorite quotes. And it's so true. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your cost of business, you don't know how much money is in your bank account.
Spreadsheets.
I also, one of my other favorite quotes that I heard, money is a cruel mistress. If you don't know what she's doing, she's going to leave you. Like, if you don't know what she's up to, she's going to leave you. You got to know, you got to treat her right. Like, you got to know what's going on. You got to know all the numbers in your business. You got to know everything. And if you don't take it seriously, you're not going to know what's going wrong. You're not going to be able to diagnose the problem. And when you're crying wolf, for lack of better words, so no one's going to really know how to help you because you don't know all the information.
Yes. Okay. So like if I asked you how many, like you, the listeners, if you had 10 inquiries in the last month, how many of those did you book? How many of those did you lose? Where did you lose them? Where did they fall off? From? Where did they come from? When was their last point of contact? Like Jamie and I know that stuff off the top of our head.
How quickly did you respond to that inquiry? Do you have an autoresponder?
Where did you lose them in the workflow? How far did they get into looking into their guide? Did you lose them after pricing? Did you lose them before pricing? Like we know all of this.
But also like, I really hope like listener wise, like we are not trying to brag. We are giving you tough love that we want you to know you have to know these things. And we want to make sure that you are set up for success because there's so many things that you may not know. Like we might be blowing your mind right now that I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Ricky Bobby hands. But if you don't know any those things, you can of course reach out to us. We will talk your ears off about it. But this is why we're like giving you tough love right now. If you're feeling like you're stuck, like you're struggling, do you know all the information? Do you see the whole picture?
Also, no need to overwhelm either. Like I know that maybe if you're not tracking this and you're like, wait, I'm supposed to be tracking every breath I take. Like,
no, I have an Apple Watch.
No, I'm just kidding. But like in all seriousness, like once you have these systems in place, it's easy to keep track of it.
And it's easy to figure out what the problem is faster.
And it will save you time in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
You can solve problems
you can
way
scale
faster.
Yes. You can figure things out like more efficiently. And it's kind of fun when you figure out what the problem is, because then you go into experiment mode and you're like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's go out here and do this. Let's DM 20 stationary humans. What are they called? Stationers? Stationers? Either way, like, let's DM these vendors.
Invite people.
Yeah, because like, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And if you don't know, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right. Well, yeah. If you don't ask, the answer is no. And then if you do ask and the answer is no, you're not out anything.
But
so
also,
you might as well just try it.
If the answer is still, like, ask someone else. You might have asked the wrong person. Mm-hmm. You just keep asking. Just keep putting yourself out there. It's exhausting, but this is business, baby. This is fun.
You can tell Jamie and I are on like
we're on a caffeine business high. Let's do this. Let's help you. Why? I want to know your problems. No.
And I think even this is kind of like a little bit of like a side tangent too, but taking this is the perfect time of year to dive into all of these things, to start tracking things, to start doing things. Little things like, do you have a website? If people are contacting you through Facebook Messenger, please make a website.
Because in the hindsight, social media can just get turned off.
TikTok.
RIP.
RIP.
Website, Google Analytics. There's the Metapixel that can help you with information. There's Mouseflow, Hotjar, Full Story.
I don't think people know that you can track. Jamie and I have this. You can watch people on your website, like not in a creepy way.
It like shows you what people are doing, what they're clicking on, so that when you're
like
actually
their mouse on the screen to like like if you were to sit down, like put your laptop on a table and you're like, okay, Aunt Susan, surf my site. Like
it's literally like watching a security camera. Like if you were to walk into a clothing store, you're watching a security camera to see what did that client gravitate towards? What did they ignore? What did they not see? What did they not click on? That's exactly what it's for, is to help you figure out what is working on your website and what isn't. And it can help you diagnose the problem quicker. For me, I realized one of my problems on one of my landing pages was copy. The copy wasn't converting. So what did we do? We changed it and we're testing it.
Yes. It's all trial and error. It's good to fail because then you know what didn't work and you can try something else.
And also when you're doing all of these things, you don't have time to fall into the comparison trap because you're so too busy in your own business.
Wow, crazy.
We are so hyped up on caffeine right now.
I think honestly, like this topic in itself,
it gets us excited.
I think I spent so much time worried about like, well, people like even this podcast, like, oh, people are going to think I'm a joke. You know what I mean? Like I spent so much time. I think
people think I'm a joke and they probably like you more.
No, they think I'm a joke and they like you.
Here we go again.
DM us who you like more. No, I'm just kidding.
Who's hot and who's not. No. Rom-com movie of the podcast.
But honestly, like I spent so much time worried about what other people thought. And when I stopped doing that, it was like, oh, I am doing a podcast with Jamie. Oh, I'm getting interviewed on podcasts. Oh, my business is growing and I'm booked out because guess what? I was focused on what I wanted in my business, not other people.
Yeah. No, this topic gets us so excited. Notice we haven't not once said the reason your business is failing is because of your children.
Nope.
It's not your children. Nope. Your children honestly are a driving factor for your business, most likely than not.
The other day, Gwen said, you know what I want to be when I grow up? A photographer.
Oh.
And I was just like, I love that because I'm home. When my kids get home from school, I'm home. Mm-hmm. And when they leave to go to school in the morning, I'm home. When they're on a vacation, like break from school, I'm home. And it's like, it's not that I want them to like do exactly what I'm doing. It's because I want them to know that like, this is what I wanted in my life and I did it. So whatever they want in their lives, whether that's going to college, whether that's being their own business, like whatever, they can do it.
I mean, we literally just are modeling what we want for our kids. We want them to be happy and healthy and having fun. And yeah, like our kids, they're just a driving factor.
I think speaking on that topic of like mom and owning your own business, I am like also a huge like thing I've noticed in the last year after being able to like pull back off of Instagram, which has been nice. Like just to not have to focus so much heavily on using Instagram as like sale. You know, when I can actually like just be on it to like post what I want and
having
interact
fun.
and have the conversations with people, is that you don't have to like be the perfect beige mom. Like I just posted on my Instagram story the other day that my middle Gwen, she went to school in patterned pants, a patterned top, and like a super messy ponytail. And I was like, it is not because I don't care. It's because like she was so excited to have picked out her own outfit and to have done her own hair that I was like, I'm not gonna like fix it because in the like worried that kids are gonna make fun of her or that she didn't do a good enough job. And so like, I just think that comparison trap of mom life even is so hard. Like the moms who it's like perfect color palettes, sourdough. Like I do love sourdough, but you know what I mean?
No, like, that's funny that you mentioned that because I was that kid that wore purple pants and a floral shirt and had crazy hair. And my mom was like, well, but did you die?
Exactly.
And honestly, she was more worried about the other kid than me. She was like, well, Jamie's going to stand up for herself. It's fine. She's short, but she'll kick you in the shins. My mom always knew when the problem was me, as if I was smiling and smirking. If it was my fault, oh, I wasn't crying. I was smug. But if it was the other kid's fault, I was distraught because my mom knows when I make a mistake, I like focus on it for so long. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
But like, if I caused the problem, well, it was so, cause yeah. My mom just let me be the messy kid and here we are.
Yeah. So don't get caught into that comparison trap of mom life either, because we're literally all just living. We're literally recording in my cabin that needs an entire wall replacement.
We both live in fixer-uppers. I let Mercer go to Quick Star with me in his full Buzz Lightyear pajamas, and I got some dirty looks, but you know what? His SpongeBob shoes were on the wrong feet. He was happy. He was living his best life. He was still a polite little boy that said, excuse me, coming through. And he got his snacky snacks. Cute. And I don't care. He was happy. That was what he wanted to wear that day, was his Buzz Lightyear pajamas. And like in your business, it doesn't matter. That's what you wanted to do and you're happy and your business is in the black, not in the red. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters.
Yes.
No. Okay. I feel like we can keep going on this subject, but did you have any final thoughts on why your business, it's not your kids, why your business might be not growing?
Yeah. I think just the biggest point to drive home is keep your eyes on your business and do what you want to do. Because before you know it, like you're 5 years in and you still have all these big goals and you would have just wished that you would have went for them. And other people aren't paying attention to you as much as you think they are.
Also, this was TikTok audio the other day. It's like, maybe you don't realize how far you've come because you keep raising the bar.
Guilty.
And I'm like, oh, that's me.
Keep track of all the little things. Sorry, I'm looking out the window. There's like 4 deer running through the field.
Love that. Nature. It's all around me.
You know, I might have to tear a wall down, but I see some deer.
But no, really, I know I'm guilty of raising the bar. We started a podcast. I'm transferring all my education over to a new platform and putting out a new course. I made a product for photographers. So now I have the box sets. I have the sister product to the box sets. I'm in product creation. I'm helping clients. I'm podcasting. I keep raising the bar. And then I'm wondering like, okay, me 10 years ago would have been like, wow, you're doing what?
Yes. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And I guess, okay, my last point I want to drive home because otherwise I'll just keep talking is that, and I'm already home, so I don't need to drive anywhere.
Do you even have a van?
I do. It works now.
Okay. Focus. Okay.
Is that most of the time, like how often are you getting onto social media or looking at other people's work and being like, wow, I can't believe they're trying to do that. Like, honestly, like you're not just going to be doing that unless like we were saying, you're in that place of a comparison trap where you're upset and need to like take a step back because you wish you were doing what that person was doing. Mm-hmm. But people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. So like when you go and you make a post and you're like, oh, I don't know, like they're going to judge me and blah, 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 blah. Like
chances are they didn't even see it.
It's not that deep. Chances are the algorithm showed you to like 2 people and but seriously, like just do it.
Just do it. And track all your numbers while you do it.
In spreadsheets.
Literally track your numbers. Focus on yourself. If you're finding yourself in the scary, dark, negative headspace of nobody likes me, somebody told me, check to see when your period's coming. That's always a good one.
That is so valid.
I was listening to another podcast and she said that, and I legit spit my coffee out because I'm like, yep, guilty. Yeah. Guilty as charged.
Yeah. I was going to say TMI, but not really. TMI is like Jamie and I somehow aren't synced. And so we're on opposite. So we're able to be like, one of us is like, the world hates me and everything's ending. And the other one's like,
rainbows and sunshine.
Okay. And then we'll flip.
Yeah. Honestly, find yourself a friend where you're on opposite cycles.
Because don't see each other too much, so then you don't sync.
Yeah. When you meet in the middle, it's magic. But otherwise, yeah, just pull your friend off the ledge when they're in the dark and scary.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like we could keep chatting on this because mindset is a whole different thing. You're probably doing better than you think you are. And if you are lost thinking that you're not doing enough, like everything we talked about at the beginning of this episode, it was mainly just tough love, because I notice sometimes the coach you hire is just not saying what you really need them to say, which is you're actually not doing enough. Mm-hmm. And let's try again. Let's try this. Let's see if this is the problem. When you look at numbers, black and white, it makes the problem so clear. At least it does for me.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraging you to try it. I'm encouraging you to get Google Analytics on your website so that you can actually start to track and see your website visitors, to see if that's a problem, to see if the people that are reaching out to you, if you're not connecting with them, where are they coming from? What audience are you marketing to? And just trying to figure out all the other things, because it's most likely something simple and an easy tweak. You just got to look at the black and white.
Exactly. And also keep a little note in your phone of all the little accomplishments. I don't even care if it was like it was like a client review. Like they emailed you after they got their gallery and it was like, I love these so much. These are the best thing I've ever seen, etc. Screenshot that and put it in your notes. So that way, when you're feeling that way, you can go back and be like, you know what? Like I booked X amount of weddings this year. I got this client review this year. I got to be interviewed on this thing this year. I got my thing published this year. I met up with, you know what I did? I went out of my way to like meet with a vendor this year and make a connection. No matter how big or small, like that's progress forward. And you need to write it down because like you'll forget because of that whole bar thing. Like, oh, well, I did that, but like now what? Like you just keep pushing it. So like, just be sure to track those things and look back on them because that will make a difference, especially on those bad days.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good spot to end it.
Bam.
Okay. Well, you guys can find us on Instagram at Cameras and Car Seats. Come follow us on YouTube. You can, Instagram, our Facebook group. Yes. I always forget about our Facebook group. So we are trying to grow that one because I feel like it's so easy for you to ask questions in there, but our DMs are always open.
Always. If you're having a bad day and you need somebody to just listen to you vent, DM us.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.